So we're here with my amazing client, Miller, who's an absolute beast. And we're here to talk about his journey since he's been in the process. How long's it been now, roughly?
Started in March. So
So it's been a solid 6 months.
yeah.
Awesome, man. So Miller's been dominating. He's essentially a coach that helps dads regain their power, single dads. And what you do is really fucking amazing. And I remember looking at your niche at the start thinking, this is going to need you to pull off some serious strength to be able to own it. Because it's not a normal, profitable niche. It's a niche that's a movement niche, which means you need to own it. And you did so well at doing that. And as a result, you're able to quit your job within 3 months, which is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And on top of that, even this week, you just literally at my place, because you're hustling from my place, they made your 5th sale for this week at 3K, which is a 15K a week,
Yeah.
which is fucking awesome. And man, just super impressed. So the purpose of the reason for doing this interview, as you know, is to inspire these guys to go, yes, it's possible, and talk about how you've gone about doing that. Not just the big wins and like, let's just celebrate all the ups, but as you know, and I know very well, this is a tricky journey. And even though these guys can look at the numbers and go, 15K in a few days, it sounds fucking awesome. What you actually had to go through to get to that point is where the actual value is. That's where we'll focus. So congratulations on your success so far.
Thanks.
Thank you for being here. And let's kick off with the first question around when you started this, because we're now at a point where it's maintenance mode and then scale. So we want to get people into your business soon in the way of team members. And so it's more of a scale phase right now. So when you were starting out, if we dial back for a second, what was the biggest breakthrough that you had to get past in the early phases to be able to start to get momentum in sales and results?
Yeah, look, I think the biggest breakthrough that I had to go through was having that certainty within myself that I can help these people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because it's like that strength is something that they're seeing in you.
Yeah.
And so, you know, if you have those doubting moments, if you have those moments of like hesitation or you don't know what the answer is kind of thing, then you're going to lose them, you know, and you can't help them out.
Yeah. 100%.
But a big part of that is not that you're a bad coach. It's not that you're a bad person. It's just your belief,
Yeah.
you know, because
100%.
based on your life experiences, you have so much to give other people, you know, especially if you've been through hard times.
100%.
And it's valuing that.
Yeah.
And it's really coming to the realization that, you know, oh, I can do this.
Yeah,
You know?
100%. Because your situation since starting out wasn't the most crazy abundant. You weren't super well off financially. So you were having to offer someone a chance to join your process at 3K, which is a lot of cash flow. And compared with where you're at. So owning yourself at that point is very difficult. And it's funny because most of the guys watching, the coaches watching, also have troubles around self-worth, confidence, owning themselves fully. And I have that as well. And you know, people would look at me and go, well, you got a multi-7-figure business, you know, surely you're sweet, or you're a coach so you should be fine all the time. That's bullshit. And it's a really great thing to point out, man, because the guys that are watching, I know that they're thinking, well, the breakthrough would have been, oh, I got a tweak on my Facebook ad, or the breakthrough would have been, I got told how to handle that objection. And I know you owning the strategy through our process would have been a big part of it, but the intangibles are always the answers that come up when I do these interviews.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to kind of go through that, man.
Yeah, 100%. You know, like, 'cause you can learn skills, you can learn like how to improve marketing, how to improve yourself on a sales call.
Yeah.
But you know, the intangibles, which affect how people feel, you know, are the big parts. And
Yeah, because when you started out, you didn't know how to generate leads or make sales, did you?
Nothing.
So the skill set was still there, and I know these guys are thinking, I just want to know skills. I want to know how to get leads and sales. But you've got that now because you've gone through the tutorials. But if you didn't have that confidence to go, I'm worth it, then you wouldn't have done the work.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think that's a really important point.
100%.
You were telling me a moment ago, this leads me to my next question about a bit of a down patch that you went through. And I'm not sure whether this would be the answer, but I'd love you to touch on it still. My next question is, throughout when you started, let's say 6 months ago, to now, you can do 15K weeks because you've pitched 4 people this week, closed 4 sales, plus you've closed another sale from last Friday, is it? Follow-up you mentioned? Awesome. So that's 5 sales out of 5 opportunities, which is pretty fucking awesome, into a 3K program. And a lot of people go, that's ridiculous. But what do people don't see is the downs on that journey.
Yeah.
So what do you think's been the hardest part for you to grasp or get good at on the journey so far, being 6 months into your coaching journey since you've been working with us?
Yeah, I guess, you know, you don't understand or realize the ups and downs that can come along this process of having your own business and trying to build it up from the ground, from nothing. And I distinctly remember just going through these periods of time where I was working full time, coming home and literally booking in like 3 sales calls between 5:30 and 8:30 every night. By the time I got home, and just getting no results for weeks on end. Weeks on end.
Right at the start.
Right at the start. And I was like, well, I had to go through that to learn what doesn't work. To learn that, you know, I have that certainty and what does work. And just the commitment that it takes to actually do it, you know, especially if you've got a full-time job now. It's like, well, if you want to get out of that, you know, it's going to take extra and above.
It really is over and above, 5:30 to 8:30 every night. And that is, so for you, at the start, I think that this is why it's valuable for you guys watching. At the start, people don't know that that's normal. People expect it jumping in, that everything's going to be flow and normal and easy right from the beginning. And because they're not expecting the setbacks when they come, it deters their focus and they go, maybe I'm not cut out for it. And so I think that really comes back to that first point you mentioned around owning yourself and knowing you're worth it, so that you can get through those hardships, especially at the start. But you did touch on as well, just before to me, that you had a period after you'd broken through and you'd made it essentially, where you're making consistent 3-4K sales, and then you talk about that kind of down. You were talking about me off camera before.
So again, like the fluctuations of what we as humans feel is the normal, right? Because I quit my job, okay, I'm doing this full time, I'm helping people, great. Like, a lot of people look into that and be like, oh, you should be loving life. It's like, well, sometimes you don't. Sometimes there are rough patches and you just feel unmotivated and you lose connection to why you actually got this or want to do this in the first place.
100%.
And just reflecting and thinking, you know, where was I last year, and how would I have given anything to be where I am right now?
So what was happening, just quickly? You were feeling a massive down, so how did that affect yours? Because what was this, a month ago or so? Or?
Probably just coming out of it over the last few weeks, I would say, but probably went for about a month.
So just 6 months into the journey, when everything's gone right, and you've already gotten results, you're making 4K sales weekly, so your finances are great, you've made it essentially for what the guys watching will be like, fuck, that's it. Then what happened when you went through this down?
I guess, again, you start questioning, why did I get into this? Why am I doing this? Because what I started out, it was like, okay, I want to spend more time with my kids, I want to help other people, and I want to do my own thing. And it's like, okay, after working hard, I did that. So it's like, well, what now? You know, what is the bigger picture here? And that's what kind of, I guess, you know, going through that, you lose connection to your why. Like, why are you doing this anyway? And coming to that realization of what is possible in a short amount of time if you're committed and dedicated to wanting to do it. You know?
I think it's important to know as well, and this is for the guys watching, because it's very symbolic to where I've been recently, which is that your purpose and your why fluctuates. It goes through seasons. So what motivated you when you began was urgency of safety. Like, you needed the security, the financial. You need to be set financially, and when you need to be set financially, your fight or flight mode kicks in, and that's what drives you. That's your why at that point. You can say, oh, my why's to change the world, but it's less relevant. Then you get to a new phase and you might be like, oh, I'm really striving hard because I want to be able to fill this big seminar in the US. And now my why is that I want to I want to be able to get a big office. Or there's always some new thing, and it could be something materialistic. It could be something internal. It might be you want to get something like send your kids to private school. But there's always a season and a different purpose, and sometimes you lose it, and then everything falls to shit. You don't know why, and it's about kicking back in and regaining that. And for me, of recent, it was about falling back in love with what I was doing. For the same point that you touched on, which is, I get to do this. I don't have to do it. But when it's your new norm and the law of familiarity kicks in, it seems like it's something you have to do all the time. And the reality is, if you zoom back 1 year, 3 years or 5 years, and you go, if I could zoom forward to where I am right now and be living this life, that'd be a dream. Like right now, there was a point where I didn't see past making 7 figures. I didn't see past having a team of even having a team. And then you get a big team and you're like, I want to get to 75 people now, and it'll be the same for you. You'll continue to evolve and get to the next level, and you won't think that it's possible to get there, but you'll get there, and then the next thing kicks in, and you'll lose track of your why at that time. So I think it's really important for these guys to know that are watching along, to go, what's my why now? And knowing that if you lose motivation, it's because you've lost your purpose, but it's a season. You just got to re-find it and regain it to be able to then get that surge of urgency and drive again.
Yeah, and I think, you know, having, because your whys are always going to fluctuate, like you say, and having short-term versus long-term whys. Well, it's like, what's going to get me most pumped up at this point in my life?
Yeah.
And for me, you know, like in that in the starting phase, it was like, okay, financial security, that's my biggest motivator. Like, I just got to do this.
Yeah.
You know, but then as it goes on, it's like, oh well, actually, I'm going to be more motivated by my bigger long-term dreams.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, use motivators based on what's going to give you the most urgency now.
Yeah, what's most relevant.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. So, man, my next question's a bit of an interesting one, and it's almost a little bit of my skepticism, which is, why did you feel you needed to invest in our program to get results? It's a 16K program. Why did you have to do that in order to get results? How come you didn't just go out there and do it yourself? Because I know a lot of people out there are like, I just want to do it myself, or other people that want to invest, but they're like, what's wrong with me? Why do I need someone else's help? Like, how come you needed to get our help to be able to get results?
Yeah, well, look, like I had started a blog before I joined with Winnie.
Yeah.
And I was like doing, you know, one post a week, that kind of thing, and it just, I don't know, it was going okay.
Yeah.
But, you know, to give myself that kind of urgency, you know, you need to invest in yourself. You know, you need to give yourself that, show yourself that you value this enough that you're going to take action. You know, and it's like, I didn't do it myself because I didn't have the urgency. I wasn't really serious about it, probably. It was just kind of a nice to do thing.
Yep.
But then as it went on, I was like, well, okay, am I serious about this or not? And so, you know, investing in it was like, well,
it associated to your brain that this is something that I'm fucking serious about.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, well,
it's real now.
I said to myself, I was like, well, look, you only get one life. And if I'm serious about this, I'm going to have a dig of it. And at the end of the day, even if it doesn't work out, it's just money. Like, I'll just pay it off and feel bad about myself or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just money,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like, don't look at the short terms of it. It's like, well, let's just have a go of this for my life because there's one shot, and if I'm serious about this, then let's just do it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's interesting that was your story to yourself, or your justification. Because for me, I had a justification because I didn't believe deep down, back to that self-worth thing, that it was just going to happen.
Yeah.
Me investing, and I know most people that invest in either our premium program or another premium program, because I invested in a 50K program. I didn't invest in that going, yeah, I'm going to smash it 100% because I'm logical and I know the numbers behind business. I went into there overwhelmed, but my justification was, I'm just going to do a seminar a week until I make it.
Yeah.
And I know that eventually, even if it takes 3 years, I'll get there. And I'll get to a point where I'm making $1 million a year. And even if I had to go 100K backwards, I'll still be able to move forward because I'm going to be making $1 million. That was my justification. I made 5K in my first week, and you quit your job in the first 3 months. Yeah. So it was easier than what we thought, but we still came up with the justification we needed to be able to do that. It's interesting.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just crazy what your brain is capable of coming up with to not do something.
You always deal with the situation at hand.
Yeah.
I think one of my biggest hacks in life and in business up until this point has been my courage to be able to make decisions that put me against the wall, back me into a corner, so I have to push through. Like right now, we're at my house because I don't have an office, because I've just moved. We've just signed a lease for a $1.4 million lease that can fit 100 staff when we've got 20. So it's like such a ridiculously massive leap. And now we're at my 4-story townhouse trying to squeeze our team in, which is awkward and weird. But it's because now I have to grow the team to that point. If I didn't have that, then there's no urgency. So I needed that urgency. Back to motivation again.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. So my next question for you is going to be an interesting one. And I really want you you're just speaking to these guys. You're there to help them out.
Yeah.
They're coaches. They want to make it work. They've got varying different niches or ambitions. What are the biggest 3 pieces of advice that you could give them as a coach that's made it now yourself and dominated through this process? What 3 pieces of advice could you give these guys to give them the best chance of succeeding with their coaching business?
I would say understand that there's no perfect time to start.
Yeah.
There's no perfect time to start.
Yeah.
If you feel like you have that, you know, that seed of possibility, that heart's pulling for you to go in that direction, then do it. You know, and there's not going to be a perfect time. Things aren't always going to align, but You know, it's the ones who just make that decision and be like, okay, I'm going to do it. Who will do it?
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
that, you know, there's no
Massive
perfect
piece of
time to
advice.
start.
And I told myself, by the way, it took me 4 years to have the courage to start this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I always thought I was going to have more qualifications in the sense that I've got a stronger story because I'm more successful now. So I'd have more trust, or I'd be more ready to do it.
Yeah.
I told myself so much bullshit. Great piece of advice. What else, mate?
Yeah. Definitely as well, investing in yourself. I
Yeah.
mean, because for me, again, it shows yourself that you're serious about it.
Yeah, awesome.
You know, it shows yourself that you are committed,
Yeah.
that that's what you want to do, and then you have to make it work.
You have to.
You have to.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and for me, because I've got kids and stuff, it was like, I don't want to not be able to provide for my kids.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, this is it.
And for me, it was my partner as well. I had to pay rent.
Yeah.
If they didn't make money, we wouldn't be able to pay the rent. We'd be kicked out. There's no fucking way I was going to let myself and my partner live on the fucking street.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
for sure.
Yeah. And I would say the other one is that
If you were coaching someone, what would they have to do to make their coaching business work? Like, what's the most important thing?
stay consistent.
Yeah.
Stay consistent
Consistently doing what?
with doing things that are going to progress your business, and then it can get a bit grey there, or you know, the stories that you tell yourself of what is progressing my business. But staying consistent at the things that are uncomfortable for you is probably a good gauge.
Yeah. So, because you're a lot further ahead now. So where your mind is at for what takes a coaching business to be successful, it's very different to what the guys listening are. So what would some of the things what should they be doing weekly to be able to make their business work?
Learning about marketing,
Yep.
learning about sales,
Yep.
and just getting content out there consistently.
Yep.
You know, getting your voice out there. Because at the end of the day, you know, if you are a coach, then you need to get your word out there,
Yep.
and not putting anything out there is going to get you nowhere fast. And it's just something. It's a good habit to get into. It actually improves your ability to speak to people, your ability to
100%.
think on the spot. So yeah, staying consistent at giving out content,
Yep.
learning marketing, learning sales.
100%.
Yeah.
So for you and for the guys that are watching, me looking at you, the reason you're successful is you pitched 4 times this week. And you got another 2 sessions today, and you'll do more pitches this week.
Yeah.
If you didn't pitch anybody and try to break them through to help them get into your program, you'd have no sales.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have a 15K week, you'd have a 0K week. And you wouldn't have changed any lives, but you've changed 5 so far. And you'll most likely change more. And a lot of people don't see that. And pitching is really important, and launching marketing campaigns is really important. You spoke to me before off camera about how you just tweaked your opportunity funnel, which is a type of funnel that we teach.
Yeah.
It's called an ops funnel, where you frame your program as a bigger opportunity essentially, and you get leads every week for $10 and then convert them to 3K.
Yeah.
And if you didn't test out that specific campaign and get results with it, you wouldn't have leads, you wouldn't be able to make sales.
Yeah, 100%. And you know, just getting into that, it's like the double-edged sword of being your own boss. You know, it's like, okay, great, you've got some freedom with how you allocate your time each week.
Yep.
But it's up to you to make the money.
Yeah.
It's up to you to get on the sales calls.
Yep.
You know, everything hinges on you.
Yeah.
You know? So I like that, but you know, it's that constant test. It's that constant checking yourself, because it's easy to not pitch.
Yeah.
Very easy.
Yeah.
To not have to do that, you know, just to try and, you know, find the easy route, or like with people on your Facebook Live, just kind of approach that person.
Yep.
I was like, oh no, I've done my bit. It's like, no, it's like consistently trying to get to 10 pitches a week. It's hard. It's hard, but the rewards are great.
And by the way, for the guys that are watching, the thing that we put forward to every client is if you can pitch 10 times per week, every week, finances won't be an issue. And like, for example, you've pitched 4 times this week and you have had a 15K week so far. You get to 10, it'll just go up. It's really important. Great advice, man. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, no worries.
Awesome. So my next question, which I'm actually just excited to know as well, is if you've gotten to this point within 6 months where you've quit your job, you're making great cash flow now, you can convert very highly, and you're having 15K weeks, what's the goal for you, and what do you want to achieve in the next 12 months? Where are you trying to take it over and above where it's at the moment?
Yeah, well, you know, you mentioned at one of our retreats and stuff, like setting big goals, you know, and being able to really get clear on them. And, you know, if you back yourself, you'd be surprised what you can do.
Yep.
And at this point, you know, because I coach single fathers who've been through a breakup, and it's kind of well known that the system, it doesn't work for a lot of people, depending on what your situation is. But a lot of fathers especially struggle through that process, and so I want to be able to kind of go a bit guerrilla on it and be like, okay, well, we can actually make a change outside of that, and then hopefully change the system based on, okay, well, it can work, because a lot of the time if you complain, you try and do a lot of these things through government and stuff, but they don't listen.
100%.
So it's like, see the change first, like outside of the government, outside of the course, and then make that change.
Influence the actual system.
Yeah.
So be proactive as opposed to reactive, because you're solving wounds that could have been avoided. Now you want to avoid the wounds.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fucking awesome, man.
So that, and like as the program goes and stuff, just be able to, again, like mentor other fathers to mentor other fathers.
Awesome.
And also kind of get, if needed, like in the program, like lawyers on board, so that, people who go through the program have representation who are specific, child support or child, allocation, like representation. So
100%. So I think this is massive for the guys that are watching, because there's so many people watching right now that aren't at a place where their security is taken care of as coaches. They don't have finances, for example.
Yeah.
But they're wanting to spread and change the system. What message would you give to these guys, given that you've now gotten yourself to a really comfortable part? Because you can now dedicate time, if you want, to spreading this vision, because you got your finances set. And a lot of people skip that step. So if you're going to talk to the guys out there that are coaches that are wanting to, change the school or the educational system, or, spread a big charitable kind of cause, what would you recommend that they do now to give them the best chance of making that happen?
Just, you got to start, and you can't look for permission from anyone to do it. You know, it's like, if you want to make these changes, then it's up to you.
Yeah.
No one else. And like, don't rely on systems or charities. Like, make the change within yourself. Be as proactive as you can in that area, or whatever it is that you want to do. And then as the results come, as it blossoms, as people see, oh, this thing works, and then they'll be like, oh, okay, we'll come along. You know? But if you want to be that thought leader, you have to make that change first.
Meaning that you've got a business that's already proven the results, so now you can take it to the system.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. Because I think it's easy to be in your position now after you've done that hard work, have all the time in the world to push it, whereas the other guys that are watching haven't set anything up yet. They haven't made it work, they don't have finances, and if they were going to go out there and try to make the charity case work with no backing, no proof, no results, then they're not going to create too much of a wave, because it's all thin air. Plus their finances are going to go to crap all of the time before they get a chance to actually make their difference. And that's why only 4% of coaches get through and actually can maintain in their businesses, let alone make a fucking massive difference and thrive.
Like, it is a worrying thing. But, I can understand it because of the difficulties along the journey. The difficulties of it. Like, I was going through a period there where I was at work, working full time, coming home, pitching till 8 o'clock, then trying to do marketing as well on top of that till like 11, 12 at night every night for, at least 2 months. Then on the weekends I've got my kids, so it's like, it was tough, so like, it is just ridiculous. And but if you want it enough, it's definitely possible,
It's awesome,
and with
man.
consistency it can work.
Great, man.
Yeah.
Great advice. So the guys that are watching right now are going to get an opportunity to talk with myself or one of my team and go through a process we call the Coaching Business Overhaul, which is kind of a new thing to the business. Essentially, it's a call with either myself or one of our coaches where we map out the strategy of their business, look at helping them find and identify their niche, help out them with their price point, their business model, etc., teach them about marketing and sales, and also talk about the reasons why they haven't succeeded. Why would you recommend that people either do that or not do that? Who should do it and who shouldn't do it?
People should do it if they are, serious about it, I guess. People should do it if they actually genuinely want to make a goal of it, like, why wouldn't you? Like, it's great value, and without that kind of structure, I definitely wouldn't have been where I am now, because I was
Niche was your biggest thing.
Niche, and just having an idea of like what to do with ads and stuff. I had no idea. I was just kind of writing a blog once a week, and then thinking, oh, something will work out one day, So it's like, if you're thinking that it'll work out one day, it probably won't. you need to know how to do it.
Yeah.
You know? You need the tools, definitely.
What do you think they should be afraid of if they're going to jump into the coaching business overhaul and have a chat with one of our team?
Being called out. Being called out, you know, because at the end of the day, honesty is what you need to get results.
And you know that we call people hard.
Always.
Yeah, 100%.
Always, you know, because it's very easy to come up with stories and everything like that, and it's great to have that accountability of someone who can cut through the BS and tell you how it is, you know, because it's the only way that you're going to get results. Those who shouldn't do it, I guess people who don't like being told the truth or being disagreed with, you know, because at the end of the day, it's all coming from a loving place, but you need to be able to take on feedback.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're not at that place, then you probably shouldn't be a business owner anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Most people that we speak to have everything wrong. Their niche is wrong, their business model's wrong, their marketing wrong, their selling wrong, their mindset's wrong, they're scarce, not abundant, they're short-term versus long-term, they're emotional versus logical.
Yeah.
So I can see where you're coming from with that. So great advice, man.
Yeah, cheers.
Thanks so much for coming and doing this interview and enjoying the spa out here. It's a beautiful day.
It is, man.
And your
It's great.
results have been awesome, so congratulations, well done. And super excited to see how your vision transpires over the next 12 months. It's going to be
Thank
fucking
you.
awesome.
Appreciate it.